Jordan Peters of Trained by JP is an absolute savage. He's huge, incredibly strong, and absolutely dedicated to the craft of bodybuilding. Recently, he posted a physique update and a rant. I'm not going to read the whole thing now, but I do want to go over the most important points. 1. Jordan says to ignore fatigue. Recently in the bodybuilding and lifting community, there's been a strong emphasis on this concept of fatigue. Mike Israetel famously coined the phrase stimulus to fatigue ratio, which refers to the concept that when choosing a movement, you should choose movements that have high stimulus and relatively low fatigue. This concept and others like it are valid, and the notion of fatigue management is extremely important to advanced athletes. However, the average gym rat and bodybuilder does not need to be worried about fatigue management. The average gym goer isn't working hard enough to induce real fatigue, real stress and strain upon the system, and so they don't need to be worried about minimizing fatigue. If anything, they need to be worried about maximizing effort, which will entail additional fatigue. So Jordan is right, this emphasis on fatigue, this overemphasis on avoiding fatigue is counterproductive to your goals. 2. Jordan encourages people to set big, audacious goals. I'm a coach and I see this all too often. People set their sights too narrowly. They just get focused on hitting a 5 or a 10-pound PR, that coveted 315 bench, etc. But if you set big, audacious goals, you will work harder to achieve those goals. And even if you fail in the process and you don't actually reach those coveted heights, you'll still achieve more than what you thought you were capable of. It's often the case that when I work with a new client, someone who's relatively new to lifting, they will tell me week after week that they're at the limits of their abilities, and then they will continue to get stronger. A person like that, maybe a person like you, needs to set bigger goals, have a bigger vision for yourself, and work toward that vision. 3. Jordan gives a very practical takeaway. He says that what you can lift now for 4 reps, you must learn how to lift for 12 reps with the same form. The numbers themselves aren't relevant. You don't have to go from 4 to 12. You can go from 6 to 12. You can go from 6 to 15. The point Jordan is making is that you need to get stronger over time while maintaining the same form. That last point is incredibly important. It's too often the case that trainees sacrifice form over ego. If you're trying to get bigger, if you're trying to build your muscles, you need to perform your movements in such a way that your muscles are the limiting factor. And if you get stronger by cheating, if you get stronger by shortening your range of motion, you're not actually getting stronger. So the key is to add reps and weight over time while maintaining the same form. And I like Jordan's formula of going from 4 to 12 reps, not because the numbers themselves matter, there's nothing magical about 4 or 12, but because it's specific and concrete. So you watching this video should think about a lift you're doing right now, think about how much weight you're doing right now, and imagine doing the same weight for double the reps. That's the kind of goal you need, because that's the kind of goal that's going to put size on your frame. The last and most important point Jordan makes is, when in doubt, do the work. If you're stuck, if you're not making progress, if you're unsure what to do, if you're feeling unmotivated and crappy, do the work. That's the secret. That's the secret to bodybuilding, and frankly, that's the secret to almost anything. There are very few situations in which putting in more effort yields less results. You can always do more. You can always train harder. You can always recover harder. You can always eat better. You can always sleep better. You can always do more. If you want to achieve your goals and you're struggling, you probably need to do more. Overall, I love Jordan's message here. The vast majority of people don't do enough work and don't train hard enough. I know for myself personally, I love training and I love training hard, and I will still find ways to avoid hard training. It's built into us. Doing nothing is so much easier than doing something. We look for excuses, we look for ways out, and I would say this is particularly true of enhanced lifters. Enhanced lifters will often let the drugs do the hard lifting for them because they can get away with that. So if you're a natural trainee, you don't have that crutch. You need to put forth effort. You need to be engaged and involved in a progressive training program. And if you are an enhanced lifter, yeah, sure, you can leverage drugs, but you will need to leverage more and more drugs to compensate for your lack of effort. Jordan absolutely uses drugs, but he trains his ass off, and that's why he gets the results that he does. Additionally, it's important to note that recovering from hard training actually is hard. Being truly fatigued is a real feeling. I promise you, if you're trying to maximize muscle growth, you are not going to feel fantastic every day. There are going to be some mornings where you have to drag yourself out of bed. You might dread going to the gym. You might feel achy and creaky and tired. But this is the price we pay for the best results. Hard training requires hard recovery, and it takes a toll on the body. And that does bring us to my last and final point, and perhaps a counterpoint to Jordan's argument. If you don't want to achieve dramatic changes, if you don't want to become huge and strong, you don't have to train like this. That's the truth. If you just want to be a regular guy, if you just want to be above average slightly, you don't have to train like a psychopath. You don't have to eat and recover like you're a machine. These things are necessary for people who have the biggest and the most audacious goals. If you just want something mediocre and average, that's okay. I'm not here to judge you. But if you want something more, if you want things other people do not have, you have to be willing to do things other people won't do. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate you.